Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Mittwochabend, ein letztes Mal Pirates Cove Zeit. Nice that you guys tuned in. Welcome to the show. Sean, where's the smile? Did we left it in Hamburg? Kind of. Kind of. Tough weekend, gentlemen and ladies out there. Yes, like we announced and like I just said, it's going to be the last show, which is heavily with topics about the ELF, and then we do a little break, and then we are coming back in the officially off season with news around the club, content around the club, and yeah, we will talk later about it. But we are here now. We are here to answer your questions. We are here to talk about the game. We are here to talk about the season, because in general, also if this loss still hurts, it was a good one.
Yeah. I mean, for me it still hurts. I know there's like a 48-hour rule, but that's usually it's in season. It's the first time as a Raider that we finished the season. First time since I've been a Raider that I've finished a season not competing in a championship game, which is a strange feeling. But that comes with higher competition. That comes with being in a more professional league. Being in a championship game is not a guarantee, even though it's felt like a guarantee for a long time. I mean, it's what we wanted as a club. It's what we asked for. But that doesn't make it easy, even though ultimately it's a good thing. Doesn't make it easier to digest in the moment.
It is a good thing to be one out of the four best teams in Europe. I think we can say that proudly.
It's also a good thing to be in a competitive league, a professional league, where, now, we're going to have to get better and improve. And it's good to be pushed. First of all, how are you?
Oh, I'm not good. I can be honest today. Didn't sleep for 3 days. Didn't eat really. My mother called me yesterday via video, and her first thing was, "Hey, Paul, you're looking bad."
Oh, hi, Mom. Nice to see you too.
But like you said, I mean, I just recapped also for myself, since I'm a Raider. It was 2009. We never watched the final on TV. We were always on the field, and it's a new thing also for me to learn. It's a new thing for most of our players to learn. I mean, of course, there were players from other teams and import players who weren't here for a long time, but I was super impressed, and a big shout out to our fans out there. Because I only read positive messages.
Yeah.
It was all about, hey, thanks for the great season.
Because it was a great season.
You guys did great. You can be proud. All these things, and this is something which makes me really proud to be part of this organization and the Raider Nation, because that means that you guys out there are also understanding what we are doing here, and that a loss can happen, and we learned it through the season with 4 losses in total against Vikings, Cologne, and Frankfurt. But this is the nature of a sport, right? You can't always win.
Not if it's a competitive scenario. Yeah. It's really hard to be in championship games, and it's really hard to win championships all the time. Even the AFL, what we were doing, where it was only a handful of teams, now it was 7 really competitive teams, and even the teams underneath could pop up and win a game here and there, like we saw in Cologne, right? Or Stuttgart almost pulled off a win against Frankfurt or Wroclaw, but like any team could win or be competitive at any given time. And when you're in a scenario like that, it's really difficult to win championships. And get to the championship games. It's quite the accomplishment. And also saying it's quite the accomplishment to be, with a playoff system that 4 teams go out of 12, and we were in the death conference, most definitely the hardest conference, and we made it out and gave ourselves a chance. people should be really positive about the season and what we were able to accomplish in our first year in a significantly higher environment. So all these things, but it doesn't make you feel better.
Yeah. CSOOLP, CSOP, however your name is called. He has two questions. One, if we can give a short summary about our experience in the ELF. Yes, we will do in the second part of today's show. We will talk about, again, about all games a little bit and also about our all-in-one experience. And if you could change something in the league in 2023, what would it be? We might put that question to the end and try to answer that. Then, Bad Boy, we can be proud. Super season, thank you. Silent Raider, thanks for the great season with great memories. See you next year. Have to go back to work. Exactly. Have to go back to work, have to lift, have to run, have to get better and stronger. And Silent Raider, also a big thank you to you. You were always here on the show. Thanks for your support. Awesome. You came even to the games. Thank you for that. Despite the loss in Hamburg, it showed that the Raiders are at the top of European football. Let's go, Raiders. Exactly, and this is something where we can be proud of.
Absolutely.
All right, before we go into this whole season recap, we want to stay in our original rhythm, and we talk about...
I haven't watched the game at all, so this highlights is going to be...
I mean, we can skip it.
No, let's do it. Let's do it.
We go into the highlights. Yes. Stadium Hohe Luft was packed, was loud, even if it's a small, older soccer stadium in the middle of a living area. It was still, I think for the fans, it's a cool...
They make the most out of it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So we got the ball, was a 3 and out on the first drive. And then Hamburg was quite quick scoring the first time, and then we get interrupted. Thank you. I don't know. And yeah, so our plan was to start fast. Obviously, on an away game, it's always different. It's not your home. We talked about it the last shows, right? Playing away. This was bad that we didn't get a sack there, and then.
But he was able to avoid several sacks, and that was one thing that he did significantly better than me on the weekend.
And yeah, it was a close game through the whole game, through the whole 4 quarters, and we had at the end. I mean, this is the best example. There is no offense play yet about us because we had our hands full to moving the ball. Mm-hmm. People were talking about it a lot about the Hamburg defense before that game, or in total the whole season. Hamburg defense and Clan Tonga. This is what you always heard about Hamburg. What would you say now after this game? How would you rank their defense? Was it something extraordinary better than the others, or
Yes. The personnel that they have at the D line and the depth that they have at the D line. Complemented by 2 American DBs, it makes things extremely difficult. If you got the time, you could exploit some things, which like Barcelona was able to do, and maybe some other teams. And we had time several times, but just wasn't able to capitalize like those teams were. But as a whole, the way the defensive line played the pass and also the run game, and especially in screens was extremely impressive. Also that they played relatively disciplined as well. Like there wasn't any gaping mistakes. They didn't give us any huge wide open receivers. It was
the D line didn't jump.
No, not a single time, and they were able to keep us in front of them the entire game, and we had to be disciplined in what we were doing to drive the ball, and we were only able to do that on this one drive.
There's a question: do you think they have a D2 or better level of D line?
The
Wait,
D-
this touchdown, crazy touchdown. Sometimes you have to have the luck too, right?
Yeah, I
You were almost sacked, and
I
then
just completely missed town.
and then it was a tip.
No, their D line is at a Division One level.
I mean, let's go through the names. Maybe Edebalu is a 7-year NFL veteran.
Yeah, I don't know all their names, but I know their numbers.
Henny is going to the IPP program, the Swiss defensive tackle. Yoboa is a super experienced, knows three-tech tackle, and plus their backups, the German and some, I think, French.
And they were down a guy who's a pretty good player,
Yeah.
Goose or something.
So they are good.
Yeah.
They are really good, and especially I think the get off of Edebali is impressive. His speed, and obviously he got coached at college and NFL on the highest level, and yeah, so that's their strengths absolutely. And then also I think through their whole defense, it reminded me a little bit at the 2016 Euro Bowl against Braunschweig, or even a couple years before when we played Calanda in the Euro Bowl.
Mhm.
When you compare these two teams, they look a little bit different on certain positions.
Yes.
I mean, their DBs looked like linebackers.
No, the number 15 came out, and I knew 15 was a safety.
Yeah.
When he came jogging out, I didn't see his number. I was like, oh, there's a D end.
Yeah.
It's a huge individual.
The crazy thing is that Hamburg can rotate permanently but not lose any quality in the D line. Exactly, and that gave them the power that made us struggle on offense. And like we saw now here in the highlights, our defense kept us in the game. We forced a couple of fourth and kick, and not.
Yeah. No, they were bend don't break in the second half, and they gave us every opportunity as an offense to climb back into it. We just weren't able to.
Yeah.
Which is why there's only been 2 or 3 offensive highlights.
Yeah.
We just couldn't get anything going.
And then, yeah, the game was over for us almost here. I mean, we tried everything. The only thing you can't deny is that everybody fought his A off. So it was like,
this one hurt.
This one hurts, and this is like, oh.
That one hurt.
And then at least he helped you out.
No, he's super nice. I can't say anything. I can't say anything about anything that happened Saturday from a sportsmanship standpoint, from being a host. Adebali was very, very kind. The whole defensive line, there wasn't any cheap shots. It was clean football. It was
clean and tough football.
Yeah. And it just, they were better on Saturday.
Yeah,
they were better, and it still doesn't make the loss easier, but they were better.
They were better. And I got asked today, like, how does the loss feel? I mean, obviously I didn't play, but I said it's, for me personally, it's tougher to accept the loss when you know that, of course, the opponent is better, but that you know that you have a chance, you can play with them.
Yeah.
It would be worse than to get to lose 42-0.
Well,
where you just go, oh, okay, we are maybe in the wrong place.
Exactly. But, if we would have lost 19-17 and we would have put up a more valiant competitive performance offensively, and we just got nudged out by a team that was better than us that day, but we played really good football and maybe close to our potential, and a play here and a play here, if that goes differently. But that wasn't the case. We didn't play to our potential. And, I think we could have gave a much more competitive game, and there's several ways where we could have ended up winning the game, because they had mistakes too, like that fumble and they kicked 3 field goals in the second half instead of, so there was ways to get back into the game or at least make it more competitive. It's just, for multiple reasons on the offensive side of the ball specifically, we just couldn't find a rhythm, and that's more upsetting than just the loss in general.
Mm-hmm. I also only want to, because with this sentence you give me the perfect, how you say it?
A segue.
segue. I don't want to look at personal stats today. I just make one thing, which is we got sacked 6 times for 22 yards in crucial situations, and it's not that our offensive line played bad. They obviously had good opponents, and there were moments where you were escaping, and then there were moments where Edebali did what Edebali does.
I kind of wanted
Blackie, we will talk about it in a second.
I kind of want to address the whole sack thing. Most of those sacks were on 3rd and longs, and our game plan was never ever to be in 3rd and long. We didn't operate well enough on 1st down and 2nd down, particularly 1st down.
I'm Booby, thanks.
And any offensive line in Europe or any offensive line in general is going to struggle when you have a talented defensive line that knows it's a passing scenario.
Yeah.
And when they can just pin their ears back, it's going to be extremely difficult. So
Elias is asking if you wanted to force the big play.
Once with the post throw to Hound, that was an uncharacteristic force downfield. And then after that, I was like, hey, you can't do that. We can't get in 2nd and longs, 3rd and longs. Same thing I'm saying. The drive that we scored was the perfect blueprint of how we were going to be successful. Mm-hmm. Short catch here, quick run, and always stay in 3rd and 4th, 3rd and 2nd and 3rd and manageable. Most of the sacks were on 3rd and longs and plus, and that's not good enough. So yeah, a lot of people can sit there and point the fingers at the offensive line.
Oh no, are you doing?
I think it would be the easy thing to do, and go, yeah, their D line beat our O line, but their defense beat our offense. Period.
Yeah, that's it. And then the game is over, and then everybody looks in each other's eyes and don't know what to say. At the most uncomfortable moments, I always try to avoid this and then go away from everything.
After the game?
Yeah. I mean, I was glad that I had something to do, like storing the equipment back in the boxes, and I was by myself, and I had to put my thoughts together. Other people are doing it differently. Yeah. I thought that some position groups stayed together and had a talk. But,
what I will say is, after a tough loss or a season-ending loss, which again is not something that we've experienced often, we have in Big Six games or 2017 Ocean Bowl or whatever. I think the big thing from a human aspect of after a loss is you tell each other how you feel about them more. When you win, you just celebrate, right? It's just a great time and everybody's happy and everything's great. When you lose, and you lose disappointingly, you kind of try to pick each other up more because it's necessary at that point, right? There's disappointment, there's people being upset, and I think you can get some really genuine moments out of a loss that can kind of bind relationships in the future too. That so it's not all bad. Something that might have happened on Saturday might be the catalyst of something moving forward.
Absolutely. Because it's also the moment. It's also the moment where you realize. I mean, that's the same. What happens if you win? It's like, let's say you win the last game, you lose out. It's like, okay, now over. Yeah. Like this, like the thing that you go into a season super long, exhausting, with ouchies or not, maybe with injuries, maybe with losses, wins, long travels, being away from home, all these things, and then in just this one moment. And then your system, your mind, okay. And then obviously the emotional moments can come, and no, but it is what it is. It is what it is, and life goes on. Life goes on, and yeah, also the Pirates COVE goes on, and we got asked already twice in here, and also you got asked straight after the game from the media, like every year, because people are expecting an answer straight after the game, which is maybe not the easiest so to all the journalists out there, please give the players some time if you ask if they continue their career or not. But Sean,
No, but to piggyback off what you said, you know, when the season's over, it's like a sigh of relief, but it takes time to decompress, right? You're in such a stressful scenario. I mean, we've been in a stressful scenario since Vienna, right? We've been in a 0% margin of error scenario. We've been in the playoffs for 2 months, well, 6 weeks, let's say. So it takes time to decompress, and it takes time to reflect, and it takes time to think about things. So, you know, it's just inappropriate, in my opinion, to ask somebody, but you're never going to get a good answer, because there's plenty of guys like me last year that said, I'm done, I can't do it. And then a new opportunity comes up. Or there's plenty of guys that say, I want to do it. Well, I want to do it. And then in November, they pick up a weight and go, I don't have it anymore. Exactly. I don't have the fire. So, but it just takes time.
Please give your answer to the audience. If they ask you now.
No comment.
No comment. And don't interpret anything into it. Even here in the office, you don't talk straight after the game or the week after the game. Hey, are you playing? You know, players coming in now, returning their equipment, getting a last talk with coaches. You don't talk straight about it. Let the players have time.
Yeah, of course. With coaches too, everybody takes time to decompress. It's such a stressful thing. It's impossible to give an accurate answer at that time.
Lias, I pushed this question a little bit to the end. What can you learn from the season as an organization? Because we will talk about it at the end about what could be better and what do we learn about, or what was good, was maybe not so good. Yeah. Did we miss any questions? Do you want to ELF Vikings fire? Yes, there will be some players and some persons from the management and board at Klagenfurt. So maybe some players talked about it to stay longer there. So there will be some Raiders fans and some Raiders players around.
I'm going to Klagenfurt.
Yeah, you're going.
Yeah. Kyle, Marco, and I are nominated for...
It's maybe not public.
Nominated for something else.
Doris, I think Doris, it's you, ELF Vikings Fire. Die zweite Saison wird leichter, weil man Erfahrung sammeln konnte. Exactly, because it was still something new. Even if we play football since 1992, it was also new for the players, the coaches, the organization, for everybody. It's completely okay to have some time. Take your time. It would be wonderful if we would see you again.
Thanks.
And somebody called you King Sean the First. I hope His Majesty
same guy
stays with you. Blackie, it is a royal week, sadly, because the Queen died.
Yeah, rest in peace.
The Queen is dead, long live the King, right? This is how they say it.
I don't know what they do in Britain.
Ja, Doris, sehr schön. Ja, schauen wir mal, ob die Jungs auf die Party gehen. All right, there was a second semi-final game.
Yes.
On Sunday. After a bad news for the Vikings organization, they had to change venue. They went from the Generali Arena back to their practice facility, to the Raveline Sports Center, where they played their semi-final. They adapted everything the way it needed to, the way it was possible in 3 days. It's probably the worst. I mean, I know it. If somebody would tell me on Wednesday you can't play in the stadium, you need to find something. I don't want to be in that situation. So they made the best out of it, and Carl Worm, the president, already announced that there will be a new solution for next year. So they're trying to build up new stands at Revelin for 3,500, maybe with some roofing, so people don't stay in the sun and rain.
That's such a European thing.
Right?
It's such a European thing. Sit in the damn elements, just like everybody else.
But this is so interesting because,
I never saw a stadium with a cover until Europe.
Really?
Oh, you have domes, but not shelters.
Yeah. Because when I think in about this topic, when I think about the States, everything is super comfortable, right? You have AC everywhere. Everybody's driving in a super nice big truck with like the softest seats ever. But then when you see some stadiums, college,
Benches.
NFL,
Look at Notre Dame.
benches, no roofs. And if you take stadiums like Green Bay, Kansas City, right, where weather can be really bad in fall, winter, the people don't care. They sit there with minus degrees, snow, rain.
I've turned into a European maybe because when I went to Green Bay, I sat at the very top underneath the shelter with the heat.
There was shelter.
Yeah, but with the way the stadiums are built, they're built vertically, so the shelter covered the top 7 rows.
Okay.
Where they looked like a bunch of ants running around on the field. But like it's very much of the culture that the fans sit in the elements and have a similar experience to the weather as the players.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, but in Europe, people care a lot about the roof over them. Blackie is the next super nice. Can we build a statue for Sean in front of the stadium?
I don't think Olympia World would be thrilled about that.
And let's wait. There was no answer. You know, there was no comment about his future. Yes. So this was the second semi-final. Vienna won it. Stiff. Like they would be similar to the.
No.
There is a picture actually.
It's not. Stop. This one.
Should we look?
No.
I
think
find it fast.
the memes page found it very, very quickly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was a picture of me, but it wasn't related. It was something where it wasn't even related. I gotta figure out how to block that somehow. Hey, at least you have to scroll down a little bit.
Oh, is it gone?
Yeah, I removed it from the internet.
No, there was a picture.
The problem was the jersey was extremely weak.
Which year was it?
2015. It was literally my first day in Innsbruck. There it is.
There it is. So if we, it's still on our homepage.
Really?
Was there snow on the field?
Yeah, I was out there in my Sperry's in a medium jersey, number 14, because that's the number I was supposed to wear. And they didn't have a large in that jersey, so I got moved to 12. And I'm extremely jet lagged. I'm so white. Sweet Moses Malone. Yeah, that was interesting.
So if we do
why
if if we do a statue of you in front of the stadium,
and look at how they had me hold the ball.
Yeah, like
it's
a pro.
Logo out, baby.
This is how you
know
teach
how much
it.
You know how much Wilson paid for that?
This is how you teach the kids at your quarterback academy.
Yeah, that's why I don't do it anymore. don't need to harm the youth of American football in Europe.
Okay, let's close this tab.
Please delete the history.
So there was a second semifinal. Is this you? Oh damn, Lula, you look great.
I was young and puffy.
Second semifinal, Vienna against Barcelona. Barcelona lost the game. Vienna, did you watch it?
No. No. I saw that. I saw some stuff on social media though.
But Vienna played pretty good. I think their strength was again their defense. And at the end, the final will be the Vienna Vikings against the Hamburg Sea Devils in Klagenfurt in 1.5 weeks. And go there if you want to watch a probably pretty good football game.
I would assume so.
Maybe a big defense battle. Don't be surprised if it's a 7-10.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Vienna copes with a downhill running scheme like Hamburg. I don't think they played one this year. You know, Frankfurt's a finesse offense. We're a finesse offense. Barcelona's a finesse offense. So the top teams they played offensively were very different. And Vienna matches up really well with finesse offenses.
And it's going to be interesting how Hamburg's offense is doing with Vienna's defense.
Absolutely. So, because Erdmann has a little different playing style than I do or like a Sullivan, or where we kind of take he pushes the ball downfield, but of course you need to take time off that. But I think the OC's done a great job all year in kind of like manufacturing throws downfield with play action and stuff like that. And I think the Vegans both have to have a really big game, and the offensive line obviously has to have a big game. But no, it's a really intriguing matchup, and it's good that they were the best two teams all season, and you get to see a really good matchup.
Yeah, and I have no preference. Should the better team win? Hamburg is his second time that they're in the final. They lost against Frankfurt last year. Vienna is used to finals. We will see. We will see. And it's on neutral ground. Even Klagenfurt is closer to Vienna than to Hamburg. But the stadium at least is neutral. Okay, let's draw a line under the last game.
Okay.
And let us quickly talk a little bit about the whole season.
Okay.
If you are interested what we talked about every game, then check out our YouTube channel and watch all the episodes. For example, when you fly or drive to Klagenfurt next weekend. And I hope you guys checked out already our YouTube channel. Here it is. Go on there and you can watch all episodes of Pirates Cove. And we will not talk about every game in detail, like what happened there, but maybe a little overview, and maybe we cut the season in 3 parts.
Mm-hmm.
Take the first couple games, the middle of the season, then
sounds good.
The end of the season. So season started, everybody was super hyped. First home game, Vienna Vikings. It was like, oh, okay, it's like last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. Everything was new, but somehow also not new. But still, great game, great opener, close game. At the end, we lost it. Do you have any special memory about it? Can you remember even? No.
What a question. It was very intense, emotional before the game and the first quarter.
But
we had a good start.
We had a good start.
Nice ball to hound.
We had a good start. It was a packed stadium at the end. I think we had difficulties with kicking game. What was a little thing maybe through the whole season. Mm-hmm. I counted it. How much was it? I wrote it somewhere. I think we left over 35 points on the kicking. We didn't score with field goals and extra points.
Yeah.
Which also killed us in the second game. Cologne.
Yes.
Cologne away, 46-49. And people started to get nervous.
That game was a giant slap in the face. I think with everything that happened in the Vienna game, to lose by a touchdown, like to an opponent that it's rare for us to lose to Vienna in Tivoli, but first game, wacky, there's a lot of justifiable things that happen. It's like, okay. Cologne was like, oh, we're not in the AFL anymore.
No. And then home game against Berlin, where everybody understood, hey, that's not a joke anymore.
Nope.
We won the game 16-28, kneeled down in the fourth quarter, seconds before the game was over. So we kneeled at the 1 or 2 yard line or something like that.
Inside the 5.
So it was a clear win. And then we rehabbed ourselves a little bit with the 33-0 win in Stuttgart in week 4, and then I had the feeling, okay, now we are in the rhythm.
Yeah,
now we are rolling.
That Berlin game was really, really crucial because the offense started hot,
yeah,
which was not the case in Cologne, and the defense put together a solid performance throughout the whole game, which they didn't do in Cologne, obviously. So Berlin was like, okay, we can do this. We're going to do this. We scored on the first 4 drives or something like that, and then just kind of coasted after that. And then Surge was also pretty clean. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of stupid stuff. And then that set up the Frankfurt game.
Mm-hmm. So the first 4 games we were like, okay, new league, new experience. It's not a joke. It's not the AFL. and we were 2-2 after week 4, and we found our rhythm. And then I think a very, very good and important game was Frankfurt at home in week
Absolutely.
5. Super competitive game, high level football on all sides. Frankfurt also came hot, and we managed, I think it was a fourth quarter good managed game.
It was a really good game by us. I mean, we still missed 2 field goals, I believe, in that game.
Yeah.
So some of these scores are kind of not representative of how the game was. We won by 6 points, but I think anybody who had watched the game or was at the game knew that was, we were in control of the entire game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is what I wanted to say. Then a Leipzig away game.
Home game.
Home game, yeah. In week 6, I wasn't there. I was in the hospital.
Stimmt.
This is where my second son was born, and so it was a good game.
It was a good game. It was a good day in general.
37-6 win. Nice to meet AJ, who played for us last year, who came back to Innsbruck for that game, and pretty clean game. And then kind of
another wake-up call.
Another wake-up call, and a pretty heavy one. 13-29 loss in Vienna. I think we were behind a lot, right?
Yeah, I think it was 7-7 at one point in the first quarter, and then they kind of just pulled away.
And then we scored at the...
Oh, it's 14-7 in the second quarter, and then they pulled away.
Yeah. So, which showed, again, a couple of our weaknesses, maybe? Or
I also think, with the first Vikings game, obviously that didn't pay off for us. But the first Frankfurt game and the Berlin game, which was our most competitive opponents, home field advantage really matters. Mm-hmm. And so to have Berlin and Frankfurt at home to try to get us back on pace was really important. And then we had to kind of become road warriors at the end of the season. And the Vikings was a wake-up call. It's like, hey, it's really hard to travel and win against good teams in this league. It's always been tough to win in Vienna against Vienna. They always seem to play so much better. But unfortunately, we put ourselves in a hole from the beginning of the season. That loss didn't kill us, but it made our margin of error very small for the rest of the year with away games.
Mm-hmm. And after this loss, we were at 5-3, and it was clear that we have to win it all to make the playoffs for sure, and not to have a close game in Frankfurt. So it was everybody was aware of, hey, if we want to go to the postseason, no more failure.
Yeah, exactly. No more BS.
Exactly. So the intensity in practice were higher. The people were awake.
And that's what I mean. From week 11, we were or I guess week 9, we were in more or less playoff mode.
Exactly. And this is, we rehabbed ourselves again with 2 or even 3 wins in a row against Leipzig, Stuttgart, and Cologne. Pretty impressive offense performances through all these 3 games with 56, 44, and 45 points. And after week 12, then we know, okay, now the quarterfinals are coming.
The first quarterfinal
in Frankfurt. And it's not long time ago that game happened. It feels longer. It feels long, but it was like we stayed in the bus for the first half, people would say.
I don't know, because the offense came out and scored on the first drive.
True.
And kind of punched them in the mouth a little bit. And halftime wasn't lopsided. I mean, we had our opportunities. We were terrible on 3rd and 4th and short scenarios, but we moved the ball. I mean, it was a very competitive game. They just made more of scoring opportunities.
They executed.
Yeah, especially in the red zone and short yardage scenarios. So nobody went into halftime going like, we didn't. And then they came out third quarter and scored because they got ball. They scored immediately. And on the first drive, and then it was kind of like, this is getting away from us a little bit. And then I forget at one point Yeah, I think it was 36-13. And then the offense took the field, and we needed 3 consecutive scoring drives and 3 consecutive stops from the defense, and that's what we ended up doing.
And then a very curious situation, which I never saw, or a lot of people never saw before, which maybe never happened.
I need to take a loss.
We kneeled down.
But that's such a soccer thing. That's such a European structure thing.
Because of the point differential, we were good with losing that game with 3 points. We had the ball, I think, with 20 seconds on the clock or something. People were criticizing us for not scoring.
We got the ball back like at our own 20 after Arnold Schwartz interception.
Yeah.
And we had no timeouts. And it's like, why would we put playoffs in jeopardy? So it was an odd scenario, but it was definitely the right call.
Carlos, thanks for your Prime subscription. Yeah, and then we had the second quarterfinal against Berlin to secure the playoff spot. And that game showed, I think, we are playoff ready. I think we belong in the playoffs.
Yep.
It was a 37-10 win. Also pretty clear through all the 4 quarters. Obviously, Berlin lost their quarterback to injury. Third quarter.
Yeah.
But also defense played pretty strong, and on offense we executed, and we prepared for the semi. And we talked about the semi over half an hour. If you didn't tune in.
Tough titty. Go watch it on YouTube.
Go watch it on YouTube later the week. And then the season is over. Like, we had a 8-4 regular season and 0-1 postseason.
But I and we can get to some of the questions in a little bit, but I genuinely think at the beginning of the year, it's like, hey, we're going to take this step into a professional league, very different than what we're coming from. We're going to be basically in uncharted territory as an organization. And if somebody said, hey, you guys are going to finish 8-4 and make it to the semifinals, I think everybody would have been like, okay. You know, like, obviously not what we would have strived to, but still nevertheless an accomplishment in this league. I mean, to be able to nudge out teams like Rheinfire and Frankfurt in the playoff spots, and get into the playoffs in a very, contested, only having 4 out of 12 teams. We used to laugh at the AFL, or at least I'm not going to put you in this boat. I used to laugh at the AFL.
That 6 out of 8.
6 out of 8 make the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like, and this is 33% of the league makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you're one of those teams. You can be really proud of that.
All right. So we are now facing the third and last third of this show. And it's about our experience with the league, and we try to pick up all your questions about it. What did we like? What would we do maybe different? There were 2 questions now. Who would we like to play, and what are our thoughts about next year? So maybe we start in general. In total, it was for us also on the let's say, not on the management, on the sports side, a big change from AFL, Austrian Amateur League, to the semi-pro league when it comes to players. So the roster was completely different than the years before. What would you say as a summary about this experience, and also about the level of football again?
The amount of work that goes into roster construction in comparison from the AFL to, because the AFL was like your Americans and whatever E's you wanted to play in the CEFL. Otherwise, you had your roster. Like, we didn't recruit Austrians from other clubs. Not really. There was no, like, driving people into I remember talking to Jordan Newman one time at the Bavarian Clinic. He's like, where do all your players come from? Innsbruck. The city limits of Innsbruck. Maybe some Innsbruck.
Villages.
Yeah, maybe Innsbruck land. A handful. But everybody lived in a 20-minute circumference of, or radius, I should say, of Tivoli Stadium. And this year was a little bit different. We had to broaden our horizons, and the amount of work that goes into that particularly to do it correctly, is night and day. Like the off-season work of scouting, evaluating, recruiting, signing players. We went from 2 to 6, depending on the CEFL roster, to 15 to 20. And so the amount of personnel that we brought in was just abnormally different. And that put a huge stressor on not only the sports department, but also the business department. And to make sure that we, try to find new sponsors, find accommodations, find supporting things for these players and these new personnel. The behind the scenes work was like a bunch of ducks sitting on a pond and just kicking. You don't really see it, but it's I don't know if I want to say astronomically different, but it's significantly different than our experiences in prior off seasons.
And with that, obviously, the level of football was much higher than the years before. The games were more competitive, even if there were games where we lost by a lot, maybe. But the level of football was much higher. And I think, looking back, it was absolutely the right decision to join this league from an athlete, coaching, football player view, and also from the management side, because it opened up a lot of more things, not only the things you see, but business and sports management wise, it is the direction what you want coming out of amateur going into professional sport is really something cool. And now I can answer maybe a little bit the question how there's what team that you didn't play, Panthers, Rams, Rheinfire Dragons, would you have liked to have played against? From a management point, absolutely Rheinfire. For me, they are like a role model right now. I think, I didn't talk to anybody of them because obviously we didn't play them. I think they did a lot of things right in their first year. And of course they had experienced people still from the NFL Europe in their surrounding, in their environment. They had the fan base, but Lord, what they did at their game days, impressive. So this is where I would like to play next year, to travel there and to have the experience there. From a player's view, what would you say?
Playing in front of 12,000 fans sounds pretty cool.
So similar. We played the Rams before, actually.
Yeah, we actually have played the Rams.
We played the Rams in the CEFL in 2017 or 18. Here in Innsbruck. We played the Panthers in Innsbruck and in Poland. Also, it's longer ago, but the people, the faces, some are still the same. And Rheinfire, I think, is something which would be really cool to see.
I agree.
Also here in Tivoli, I think they are super professional and super well-oiled machine or organization. Then there were some other questions at the beginning where I said we pushed them to the end. Let's talk about the future. There was the question, what we do something different, or what if you could change something in the league for 2023. And also with the new teams joining. So our opinion about the new teams, Switzerland, or Zurich, Munich, Szekesfehérvár, and Milano Siemen. First of all, it's super cool that the league gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And especially Italy has a long and good history of football. We played the Siemen before. We know their head coach, Stefan Pocconi, who was the head coach for the Danube Dragons here in Austria. We know a couple of players who played there, so exciting, and we might ending up in the same division.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I think from a player's perspective, some things like, I think obviously when you start a new league from scratch, you can say, the refereeing could be more consistent at times. Maybe some facilities aren't as good as other facilities, but I think the majority of people are pretty pleased with the product from a player's perspective. Obviously we didn't get teamwear, when we should have got teamwear. And there's small things, but you know that there has a lot of reasons for that. But I think you can be really happy with the exposure of the league. The fandom of the league is super cool. People following the different media outlets, people giving opinions to it. It's everything that you want to see. And you just hope it keeps heading in that direction and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And really something that fans of American football who are European based latch onto a team and latch onto a league. And you know, Ryan Fire having 8,000 to 12,000 people in the stadium on a week isn't like, it's like, oh, that's a good attendance. But, you know, this team did 7,000, this team did 6,000, and they all have game days, and everybody has podcasts, and they talk. Really, really like a mini NFL would be cool. And not that we would ever compete or try to replace that, but, you know, it's much more of an obtainable version for Europeans where we don't play at, you know, 12 o'clock at night if you're a dad, you know, and like, you know, fantasy football would be cool for the ELF, and just to see the fandom to continue to grow would be something that I think would be super exciting. And there's a ton of potential because it's obtainable. Like even guys like a star in the league, just text me, I'll text you back, you know, like write me on Instagram. I answer almost everybody, you know, like, it's obtainable. And I think that's a super unique thing for fans.
Absolutely, I think so too. And exposure, like you said, media wise, and how, I mean, it was for me, it was so cool to see when we played in Leipzig that Puls 24, the Austrian podcaster for the ELF, sent a team there to make interviews with us. So this shows also the standing, because normally you would expect they say, yeah, send me what you get there, and we showed. No, for them it was so important to send it a cameraman and how you say in English, a commentator or interviewer, and to have it live in their shows and this was really like something cool. And for next year, the only thing I would wish is that, how can I say that? I mean, it's tough because you don't know these new teams like Zurich, Munich, and Hungary and Italy. But I would, because I heard a rumor, I don't know where, and I think it's completely not true, that they put all the new teams in one division. I think that's something I would not like, but I hope also that at some day, maybe in 3 years, when let's say the league is complete, that the divisions stay. You know, that you have,
that's true, that you build rivalries.
Or even that it comes that there's a rhythm, you know, and then you have maybe different interconference games from year to year. Every 5 years you play that opponent.
Exactly. If they're using the NFL as a model, that's exactly the way it would be structured. And then you get to build rivalries and everything like that. So it'll be really interesting what they do. You know, putting all the new teams in one conference, I think would be a mistake. But like, we'll see if they take the Raiders and Vikings out of the same conference, or if they want to keep that thing. You know, we're developing something with Frankfurt. Do they want to keep building that? But I think you're right. Eventually, there has to be an agreed upon fixed structure that you can let that grow organically. Because to mix it around every year is exciting at first, but maybe not sustainable.
This will happen for next year.
Yeah, of course. You have to.
The division's going to look or they decide to put all 4 teams in one.
I don't know.
We will see.
Even geographically, that wouldn't make sense with Hungary.
It's not that far.
No, but having Vienna, Hungary, Istanbul, Wrocław or something as an Eastern Conference would make sense.
Doris is asking a question and gives us also some props. Thank you. First, Sean, thank you to you that you were there for the fans. Also, thank you to me. Yeah. Thanks, Doris. And I can also tell you, maybe we as a franchise, as an organization, had to learn this more and more, that this is also a league for the fans, and we 100%. Have to give something back. And it's cool that you guys are giving it also back to us again. So it's a nice win-win for everybody. Doris was also asking if we want to change something for the game days. we in the management, or however you want to call it, we also do the same what these coaches and players are doing. They are watching now the videos, they are doing a recap, and this is what we do too. And of course we can do things always better, and if we have the possibilities to change things, because like most of you guys know, it's not always easy to change something in an environment which is not yours, because we are still in a soccer stadium or multi-sport arena, however you want to call it. So we try, and we learned a lot through the year because we saw other game days. No? It wasn't like in Austria where for 20 years everything was the same. Every year you went to this opponent, it was the same. And now we saw a different approach also from other franchises. Like Hamburg, they made the stadium is actually right in a living area with streets around. There was no space for tailgating or things like that, but they made the best out of it. And the stadium was still full with 4,000 people. So we will see. Bad Boy is asking, oder hab den Paul auch hin und wieder im Fernsehen auf Pro7 Max gesehen. Ja, manchmal bin ich auch zu sehen. Is there going to be a third team in Austria? I don't think so. Austria is too small for that. That's not possible. Watchstone like in Berlin before game to come close to the field. Yes, Don Anderson, this was something nice. Also, after the game in Berlin, it was nice that they let the fans down there, had a little DJ there, a barbecue. It was well organized, and I think it gave the fans the chance to come closer to the team. Yes, 5:56. We are almost at the end. Chaos had a question. Will you talk about the rest of the SWARCO team? You mean about our whole other teams? Yes, we will do with the beginning of the next show. We will cover all other topics. For the moment, we just can say that the youth season started. We had an under 14 and under 16 game day last Saturday when the big boys were in Hamburg. Our younger players played here in Innsbruck against the Vienna Vikings. Under 14 lost. Under 16 won their game. So 1-1. Next home game is this Sunday against Saturday. The under 18 against Hohenem's Blue Devils. So if you want to watch an under 18 game in a nice facility, come by, grab a beer and have fun. And we also had a big news for all the Raiders basketball fans out there. We just signed Shiga Hubbard, the MVP, the league MVP from last year, joined us. He's back and he's in shape, and basketball season is starting soon, so a lot of content, a lot of things to talk about, and we will also then cover through the off season of the men's teams. We will talk about the AFL preparation, the ELF preparation. AFL had their kickoff meeting on Monday, so they are back in the gym. It's crazy. The ELF stopped and the AFL is going back to the gym. They have the Tyrol Cup playing this fall, so a lot of things. While we are now picking our songs of the day, you guys can ask your last questions. And yes, Sean, we are going to Spotify.
Yes.
Your song.
Forever Young, Jay-Z.
Forever Young. From Jay-Z. Isn't that a classic version, like Forever Young from Alphabet? Yeah. I wanna be forever young.
Yeah, samples it.
Do you really want to live forever?
Yeah, I think he samples it and then he does the verses.
And ever, forever young, I wanna be forever young. And I take again a maybe you never heard about. Alles wird gut.
No.
Is the song, and
by Bushido?
No.
So.
Kummer.
Yeah, them, that band.
You know, he is the front singer of a band I picked a couple of weeks ago. So he did a solo. Pirates Cove.
Ooh.
Oh, it is already on the playlist.
It happened.
Oh no!
Shame on you, Paul Phillip.
Oh no!
Shame on you.
Really? Oh no!
Shame on you.
Alles wird gut. I have to. Then I take a love song. I take a love song. Barefoot at the Piano. Barfuß am Klavier von Annemai Kantereit. Awesome song.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Barefoot at the Piano.
Oh, I need a coffee.
That's it, gentlemen and ladies out there in the Twitch universe. That's it. It was a pleasure to have you guys here every Wednesday for this whole season. It was a lot of fun seeing you guys in the stadium. It was a lot of fun to talk to you guys, to chat with you, to have you as our spectators. And we love your support. We really appreciate it. And yeah, good luck for the other teams in the final.
Yeah.
Your last words, Sean.
Thanks for everything, guys. It really makes it worthwhile.
Next week, no COVE. Week after, maybe, but more likely we coming back in the first week of October with new topics, with new things, with new interview partners, more focus on our club. And like I said, and like Sean said, thank you for everything. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the final. Go to Klagenfurt. Support this whole product. Even if your team is not playing in there, even if we are not in there, go there, watch the game. It's going to be awesome. The AELF is doing a great job with organizing it. Give this whole thing another chance. And then we see us in October here on Twitch and next year in Tivoli Stadium. Ciao, Kakao. Kisses to all of you guys. We love you. Macht's es gut. Bis bald. Ciao, Kakao. Ending.